Welcome to the Interrogation True Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, Corey David. Today we have a special guest with us, Mr. Ben Kronberg. What up, bud?
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. It's been like 6 weeks since I've actually seen you.
Yeah, you used your passport and everything.
Yeah, man. It's pretty cool. I had to escape and try to make a life for myself in Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah, the classic American tale.
Uh-huh. You're like the last samurai, but if they had samurais in Vietnam.
Yeah, and they were telling jokes instead of wielding a sword.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You said you've done some international traveling for comedy, right?
I've traveled internationally for comedy, mostly performing for expats. I don't know if that was kind of the case with you, or was it a mix of locals and expats?
It was a little bit of a mix. In Saigon, since it's a little bit more westernized, it's like southern city, that was mostly like expats. But then in Hanoi, it was mostly native Vietnamese, but Hanoi is also a big university town. So most people that have gone to university in the country like know how to speak English very fluently. So I was a little intimidated going into it. Did you feel that when you were like the first couple times you went to go overseas and do jokes, or was it because it was mostly expat you weren't too worried?
Well, I didn't know it was expat per se, so I was thinking, oh, this is going to be for locals, so I was pleasantly surprised by that. But but I would say even doing shows in the States, I've been disappointed or lost in translation, so I was used to that.
Yeah, that's the thing too. And I started thinking about it more, and every region of the country is almost like its own country in a way. You know?
And every like age demographic too, or type of bar. Yeah, but it's not always the ones you think are going to be the hardest.
No, I've found, and maybe it's just coincidence, but I'm not, who knows. The ones that I'm always the most worried about, because optically it doesn't look like it's going to be great, wind up being the most fun. Mm-hmm. Like the random rural gig in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. You're like, what am I walking into? I was doing a show in, I forget the name of the town, but it's like half an hour south of Steamboat, and they asked me they were doing like a big 4th of July, like town-wide celebration, and I said yes, because I don't think I had any plans that weekend. And I look at the schedule, and I'm like, I think I'm squeezed in between 2 ZZ Top cover bands. There's a pig contest, like what's gonna happen? And it couldn't have gone any better. Like the whole town came out.
Oh, that's great.
And I think because they don't usually do a lot of comedy stuff, like everybody was like on their best behavior. They set up the room like road seating and ticketed and the whole deal, and I'm like, nice. Oh man. And then you go into a gig maybe in like a city that's in a more traditional comedy venue, and you just eat shit.
Yeah, I'm in New York, I'm doing comedy in New York. And yep. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, the places that I went were cool, and the performances and shows and things were really fun, but it's cool that you got to go do that.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So tell people a little bit about you, what you got going on, like, because you've been back in Denver for how long now? You've moved around like a little bit.
Hard to say. I mean, time flies. I came, I guess, back in 2000. I came back like 2008, 17, 18, I guess. 18 already. Is that it? 18, 19. The pandemic was in 2020. Mm-hmm. It's probably 2018. Because I was back for a little while before that happened.
Now, were you living? So, did you move from Denver to New York, or was there like space in between?
I moved from Denver to LA.
Okay.
And then LA to New York.
Okay, got it. And then what prompted the moves, really? Was it just like you saw, opportunities for yourself that just didn't exist here?
It was always dreams beginning and dreams ending.
Dreams of grandeur.
There's eyes closing and eyes opening. Yeah. And I was, when I moved to LA and New York, my eyes were closed. And then once I started waking up, I was like, oh, this is who I am. I mean, where I am.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, various things. Like I moved to LA because I got a manager who was kind of urging me to either go to LA or New York, because they were like an LA-based management company. And so then I went to LA because I had some family there, so it seemed like an easier move to do, where I had like a support system or something. Plus, it had the hopes of making it dreams.
Of course,
in LA.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then LA or New York happened because I was not happy as a stand-up in LA and was traveling around doing like college gigs, because I had gotten a college agent, and that kind of helped me start traveling around, actually making money doing comedy. And then I visited my buddy who I'd known since the 6th grade. He lived in New York, and I was in between places off of a breakup in LA, and I was like, yeah. So it was always kind of a breakup that moved me, and then a breakup that moved me back.
It's usually
to New York.
Good enough reason as anything. It's a nice way to set a reset.
Well, it's because we were living together too. It wasn't just like, oh, I can't be in this town anymore. It's like, oh, I can't be in this apartment anymore.
I got to find a new place.
I have to find a new place and new roommates, and that's like a whole thinking about finding a whole new. It's basically like a whole new life.
Yeah.
You know, that you have to think of.
So the only thing reasonable is across the hall. You're like, I looked at other places.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I looked at like 20 other apartments. And this is the only thing that fits my budget and lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now you run Denver Comedy Lounge, which is one of the best rooms in the country and obviously in Colorado.
That's sweet. Obviously, I mean,
well, I think
hands
so.
down, Colorado. No, I think so.
I mean, it's
too.
always packed all the time, and it's always great lineups. And it's I've said this before, that it's the best looking room in Denver, like aesthetically pleasing, and it looks so legit, like beyond
all the things that I don't have anything to do with. It's the best of, and the things that I have to do. No, it's good. Yeah. I mean, the aesthetics, I definitely gave the thumbs up or the green light to, but it's definitely been like a team effort with the Colorado Sake Company. And, and no, seriously, like that they actually care about it, because it's the first place that I've ever put on a show, produced a show where the venue, the bar, actually cares.
Yeah, they're on board.
and that shows in their efforts and all the things. And you haven't been to the green room is kind of better than it was the last time you were there.
Oh, are there less wires?
No, there's still the wires, but
there's
some changes.
Is there an espresso machine now instead of the Keurig no one uses?
There's still a Keurig. And there's a microwave, and there will also be a couch soon.
Nice.
It's not there yet, but maybe this weekend.
It's already like set up to be a pretty good green room hang, which is one of the reasons I like just popping by just to like hang a lot sometimes, is because it's, certain places you're kind of like in the room with the show, and there's really, it's nice to see your friends or whatever, but part of the joy is like running into people and having a small conversation instead of just like having to sit in silence, because comics are the worst about not talking during a show. We always get on everybody else's case. You shut the fuck up in the back.
You can't help it.
Well, you're excited. I think we're excited for different reasons that the audience is excited, but you get jazzed up as soon as you start hanging out with certain people. You just want to yap.
Yep.
That's fair. Now, you grew up in Denver?
I was actually born right over here at St. Joseph's Hospital. So I wound up living right by where I was born. It's the hospital that I was born in is not there anymore. It was like torn down, but it's a field where a lot of dogs poop and crows land.
You got a good view of it?
Yeah. So I was born in Denver, raised in like the suburbs, like North Glen, Thornton, Westminster, Broomfield. My parents got divorced, so I moved around a lot. Yeah.
Now, would you say that growing up, were you like a good kid, like very well behaved? Were you getting into a lot of trouble?
I was a really good kid, but not, I don't know by way of what. I just maybe fear based. Like I didn't have like an extreme situation to rebel against, but I also didn't have the itch of being like, I gotta do, I don't know. I mean, I would sneak out of the house. I would TP people's houses, which I would be afraid to do these days. You'd get shot.
And also you feel bad for the people. You're like, I have to clean that up.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the shittier things you could do to a person.
Especially if rain's in the forecast.
Yeah. It seems not that bad at the time, but like, I didn't do much. I didn't dip into any sort of drugs or drinking till after college.
Okay. Yeah, I tell stories about me vandalizing stuff, my brothers and I doing vandalism and stuff when we were kids. And, at the time, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. But now that we're adults, you're like, that dude probably had plans to go golfing today.
Yeah.
And, maybe a little bit of a reprieve so he doesn't freak out on his family.
Yeah, exactly.
Spend some of that quality time doing other things. And now he's picking up our mess in the yard.
Ugh.
That kid stink. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But so in the areas that you grew up in or lived in, not a lot of crime, really, especially like in the suburbs?
I mean, probably now there is, because crime is everywhere. But
yeah, America's falling apart.
It was a suburb, so it was like filtered and homogenized a bit. I'm sure there were, more domestic crimes than anything else, right? Suburb living, frustrations and stuff, but it wasn't like Yeah.
It wasn't like a dangerous place.
No, I didn't feel that.
Okay. Now, when you got to college, that's when you started drinking and doing more and like acting out a little bit more?
I didn't act out. Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't really act out. I went to college and I went to film school, and I didn't party really hard in college. I didn't have that, or, that fun of a college experience. It was fine, but like, I wanted to graduate. And so,
well, look at you. That's not why most people go to school.
I know. So. I was stupid with that, but yeah. I mean, it was probably after college that I actually kind of like decided to take some chances with that. Like, I didn't even really drink that much in college. My last semester of college was when I smoked weed for the first time.
Yeah, late bloomer in that regard.
And so,
do you smoke weed now?
Not really much.
Yeah, I was
occasionally.
Gonna say I don't either. All right, let's get into some dumb crimes that I found on the internet. This one seemed to amuse you quite a bit. Airlines are they're pretty out of control these days. People are at their wits' end.
Oh, man.
Some of it's pricing. I was looking up flights today to go to Bend, Oregon, and they were like $750. It's insane.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's usually not. It's usually like a $300
round trip. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, student handed over to Delhi police after allegedly urinating on American Airlines passenger. So the fact that it's Delhi, do you think are they mad at American Airlines? They're making a stand?
I mean, they might be, or they're just, you've seen Slumdog Millionaire, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or the
great.
whole, or the Ganges, right? I think the Ganges is kind of like this very highly polluted thing and bodily functions, but I think my problem with it is they call it urinating on another passenger. I think that's when urinating becomes pissing.
Yeah,
like he pissed on another.
He pissed
passenger.
on somebody. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
He didn't urinate.
You don't
urinate by yourself in a bathroom, but you piss on the ground. You piss on a person.
Yeah, you don't use. This isn't the time for technical terminology.
Yeah,
like just tell it how it is.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah, are you really trying to make a family-friendly article?
Yeah, there was ejaculate everywhere. No, it was cum, baby. It was
came
cum.
everywhere. That's the interesting part about even writing up the article that way is like, so this is, you're trying to, are you warning like a family or a dad or a mom that's like maybe going to fly American Airlines? You're like, honey, maybe we should go Southwest. Did you hear they're urinating on people on American Airlines?
Yeah, it sounds like a dare, a deli dare that they had for the person or something that...
A deli dare?
I mean, I don't know. Like
triple deli dare you, Ben.
First class. You got to go to first class. Yeah, I hope it was a first class passenger.
Oh, that would be... I think that...
Kind of like a Robin Hood sort of...
I would actually appreciate that a little bit more. All right. Actually, kind of want your take on this. So... The people so obviously there's boarding priority, right? Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3. Mm-hmm. If Zone 1 is already done being called and Zone 2 is going, does the Zone 1 person that showed up late get to jump everybody in the Zone 2, or should they wait until Zone 2 is done and then jump in front of the Zone 3?
I think they should wait because they showed up late, but more often than not, I see that Zone 1 person cutting the line.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No.
I was like, you showed up late, and I get it.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not even saying you have to wait behind the animals in Zone 3.
Yeah.
But why, in the middle of Zone 2, do you just get to look all frantic in a suit?
Yeah.
And then, jump everybody.
I hope you're an air marshal. Becky, I hope to God you're an air marshal.
Yeah, there better be a gun in that briefcase. But also not a very good air marshal if he's showing up late, unless it's like he's deep undercover and he's like, I really got to look the part of.
Yeah. Well, like you want other people to be sitting down so you can kind of scope. Mm-hmm. Like, I think the air marshal should sit in the back because they should have to walk by everybody.
True.
To like do like a Terminator scan of their faces.
Yeah, to discriminate.
Yeah.
You know, to have prejudice.
Extreme.
Yeah, how am I going to have some prejudice on the people on this flight?
I don't trust the fat guy eating a salad. They're up to something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like when people tell you to act normal, that's the sign that you get that tips you off. Like, today wasn't the day you decided to be healthy. There's something else going on.
Yeah, and how do they profile nowadays with now were a lot of people wearing masks on your flight?
No, just the ones the only one where it was mandatory was when I had to transfer through Hong Kong. So Chinese regulation made you put on a mask. I'd say it was probably 50-50 to be honest. Like the people that were or weren't wearing masks.
Did you?
No, part of the time. Yeah, I'm kind of out there being free.
No judgments. No
judgments. I will say, so just a quick sidebar, just because I think this is funny. One of the flights that I was on, there was, you deal with impatient people, and I think maybe that's what's happening here. Maybe they were in line for the bathroom, somebody was taking too long, they just get impatient, so they just peed on somebody else. We're not giving them the benefit of the doubt. We assume that it was malicious, right?
Yeah.
I was on one of my connecting flights, I was sitting next to two Buddhist monks, and I tried, the one older one, tried to climb over me to get to his seat, and I was like, no, wait, just give me 1 second, I'll stand up. And then I go to unbuckle my seatbelt, and he tries to climb over me again.
Oh, you got a Buddhist lap dance. You got a...
It was a big in and out. It was a little in and out.
Oh, wow.
Like, aren't you supposed to be the most patient people in the world?
Well, maybe it was just one of those like low-tier Buddhists that sell the bracelets on 16th Street Mall.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like not like they were like...
Yeah, he didn't make this himself. He ordered it off a catalog. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, any side note. But have you ever peed on somebody on purpose or on accident or just yourself?
I've never peed on anybody on purpose. I've maybe in the shower.
Yeah, but that was consensual.
They're shampooing and they're totally in a different space, and it's like, okay, well, no, I haven't. I haven't done that.
Yeah, okay. I was just curious because I haven't either, but there was a story. So I was running security for a Buffalo Bills game when I was in college. They used to let organizations do that for fundraisers, which is insane. The idea of letting college kids do security
as a fundraiser.
At a football game, at an NFL football game.
I miss the bikini car wash days.
I know. They had that outside. That was before. We were double dipping that day, and I was at like the 100 level, like the top of the stairs, and some guy just like bolts past me, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then a couple seconds later, this woman comes up the stairs, and she's soaking wet. And I'm like, what happened to you? And she goes, that motherfucker just pissed all over me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was it a Bills fan?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know I can't recall. I don't think anybody was wearing logoed clothing, but it could be a situation where they were just being brutal to an opposing team's fan. I don't know. That's a lot.
I mean, that's some trauma. That's some trauma that she experienced, and definitely whoever the person that peed was, they're coming from, a long line of trauma that that's the only way that they could express themselves, or I don't know.
Yeah, artistic expression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So people use different mediums. Some
use
watercolors.
Uh-huh.
And then some use watered down piss.
Uh-huh. Too bad it's unfortunate that maybe the kissing cam wasn't happening at the same time. That would be great.
Somebody's hog out on the Jumbotron.
Uh-huh.
You're like, this game's too exciting. I can't leave my seat.
It's always the showers that are publicly pissing. It's not the growers.
That's true. So a little more information about this article. An Indian student has been arrested after urinating on himself and a fellow passenger while inebriated on an American Airlines flight.
I mean, that adds up. That makes a little more sense.
More excusable or not?
He
urinated while he was asleep. So he's a bedwetter.
Manslaughter is not murder.
This is yeah. It was he was just a bystander. I don't know.
He didn't mean to, but also, it sounds like the pee on the other person was incidental.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't like so, but still, it's negligent.
Yeah. How much pee would have to get on you for you to cause a scene?
I mean, that's good. I'd have to notice it if it was a baby. If it was a baby, I'd let it slide.
What if you noticed it coming? Like a typhoon in the distance.
Just like, okay, I can't do anything.
I'm stuck.
Just brace myself up.
Just hit the button. Yeah, for the flight attendant. Like, somebody come help, please. I've never been. I've definitely pissed my pants when I was drunk and I was asleep, but never. Well, maybe one time. There was somebody else, around, but it was accidental.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't get arrested for it.
How old were you? An adult?
22.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Not a great moment, but it was one of those where I was asleep and they woke me up. They're like, you're peeing on me. I'm like, no, I'm not. Just deny it, just flat out. Be like, no, I'm not.
No.
Yeah.
The
occasional bedwetter, but not, I'm not one of those people that gets hammered drunk and pisses their pants all the time.
I mean, even if you were, no judgments.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But yeah, that vulnerability to even share that one time is pretty good.
Whatever. It happened 12 years ago.
You're a whole new man.
Yeah, I feel cleansed.
Yeah, your cells have rearranged themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever. I mean, I want to say I must have, but maybe I just am in denial about it. Maybe I've repressed it.
Yeah, you've blocked it out.
Yeah.
What a thing to come out in therapy.
Yeah, I think I could. I think I have what it takes to pee the bed as an adult, but I don't know that I have.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, one more article. FBI arrests man dubbed Sedition Panda, accusing him of storming the Capitol wearing a bear head. Any first thoughts?
Well, what does sedition mean?
I think isn't that kind of like storming the Capitol in a nutshell? It's like government attack on the government.
I mean, it must be in the context, I guess, sedition. But let's look it up.
Let's look it up.
What is sedition? I mean, I know what a panda is.
It's not seduction,
No,
unless it's like government seduction.
It's not sedation. It's sedition. It's like a New York Times like word of the day.
Conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or a monarch. So, I mean, first thoughts from me are that's pretty cool that he could articulate this through a panda head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well spoken, if nothing else.
Yeah, that panda's really expressing themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mostly just a panda talking about their feelings.
Yeah,
Have you ever been to a Panda Express? It's mostly just guys in bear suits talking about their feelings.
I've only been in the airport. The Panda Express is in the airport, and they're always like open super early, where other like the pizza place won't even be open yet. But Panda Express is like people want rice and noodles right now.
Yeah, of course. Who wants orange chicken at 6 a.m.? This guy. Come on over. We got coffee. We got bad coffee for you too.
I hope he was passing out like fortune cookies that said like political statements on them, like that were also
every single one's the same. It's like you might storm a government building today.
Yeah. Lucky numbers are
and be rewarded on QAnon. The FBI arrested a Donald Trump supporter allegedly to have stormed the U.S. Capitol while wearing the head of a panda costume. So, I mean, I don't care for the fact that they're shaming pandas.
Yeah, what is this, a Will Ferrell movie or something? It's sort of like, okay, Adam Sandler.
I know, right? I mean, when did they get the guy's face? Like, did they get his paw prints in Nancy Pelosi's desk?
Yeah, was it a disgruntled like mascot?
It was the Panda Express guy.
Yeah, the third string mascot at the Panda Express.
Well, he was spinning a sign outside, and he noticed that, hey, these guys look like they're having a lot of fun. He just wanted to be a part of the group, and he's just like, I'm done with this job.
In his defense, or their defense, I guess it was a guy, right?
You can't assume.
Right, you don't want to assume.
I don't like gender in pandas.
The Panda.
They all look the same. Black and white.
Canada Express.
Yeah. Biracial. They're all biracial.
I mean, like I've never been in one of those suits, but it seems pretty difficult to see. So maybe they were just maybe they just like stumbled. They thought they were somewhere else.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they just got caught up in it.
Because just like a mascot, you have to be led by the hand from the locker room where you dress to like the thing. You can't
see.
You can't see.
He just got hired for the gig.
Yeah.
He's like, we need a pep rally panda. That's a side gig.
Yeah. How much does January 6th Panda pay?
Yeah, they just got January 6th. Oh, no, my calendar's wide open. Actually, just needed the paycheck that badly.
Yeah, no fingerprints at all.
Or he just got doubled down and there was a furry convention in town that night. He just got this suit. Got it, And he's like, I want to, how when you get a new shirt or something, you're like, I'm going to wear this all day.
Yeah.
Even if it's not appropriate. Yeah, sure, the coat's too small, but I'm going to wear it outside before it's a formal occasion just for fun.
Yep. Yeah, the panda. I hope they're okay, though. I mean, really.
Yeah, they're endangered. I don't think China's going to have something to say about it.
What do they chew on? They chew on bamboo? Are they bamboo eaters?
Yeah, they're bambooers.
That damn bamboo eater. It sounds so derogatory.
Well, it does.
Bamboo eaters. A bunch of bamboo eaters. Those
sounds pretty derogatory.
January 6th pandas are a bunch of bamboo eaters.
So the FBI identified Rumson as the man in the panda. There's a man in the panda head because he wore it on and off during the storming of the Capitol. Well, yeah, it gets hot.
Yeah. Cool off. Woo.
All right, back to being a panda hating man.
Human head, panda body.
Yeah, like a minotaur. Oh shit! All right, that'll do it for our dumb crimes of the week. Yeah. So what you got for us today? What'd you bring to the table with a little story about something you've been a part of?
Oh, something I've been a part of.
Well, it could have been you witnessed or the police were involved in some way.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, it never. I don't know if I can tell that one. I don't know if I don't know if it's my story to tell. I want to keep it to my story to tell. It wasn't a crime, but it probably was a crime.
What if no names are involved?
They'll know.
Okay.
But one time I did have tell me if this is a crime or not. I was doing a college gig in Baltimore, staying with some friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I was staying in kind of a dormitory-esque area where it was in this like kind of game room of where like this apartment building, but there was no bathroom accessible. But I had been given a large cup of water by the people who I knew that lived there.
Yeah.
And so I drank this cup of water.
No wonder you wanted to talk about the urinating story.
And so there was 2 times that I had to go pee because there was so much water.
Yeah.
And maybe some drinking involved in the evening. I found the window, and I lifted up the window, and I peed from inside the room to outside of the window. Now, is that illegal?
Well, I think negligence is good here, not knowing what's on the other side.
It's a piss demeanor.
Did you look? Yes. Did you look to see if anybody was down there?
I mean, it was like in the middle of the night. Yeah, I didn't pee on anybody, but I knew, like, you know, when it's all quiet everywhere and, like, I don't know who's going to be coming down or out or in.
Would that count as public urination?
I'm inside.
I'm into the public?
I'm in a public or whatever space, and then I'm peeing outside onto the thing. So that felt very bad. But then I had to pee again. And I held him. I had to poop too, but I held in my poop. I'm a pro at holding in my poop. I'm an amateur at holding in my pee.
For some reason, even though it's both going to the bathroom, like one would, I think, technically be worse for some reason.
Yeah.
Both, I think you'd write them up both the same way. But
yeah. Well, yeah, one's harder to clean up, but also harder to forget. So then I peed in this cup, and or actually, this is what happened: is I peed in the cup thinking, I'm gonna be able to. This is a big enough cup to hold all my pee.
Yeah.
But I had extra pee after the cup, and so what I did was that's when I peed outside to like the rest of it.
So what'd you do with the cup of pee?
Well, I poured that as well outside after I was done because I was like, what was I doing in the first place? Just peeing in this cup. But then I returned. You
added a step.
I know. I was confused. It was night. There's games strewn around, and so I took the cup back, and instead of just like, it was a plastic cup that could have easily been thrown away, but I put the cup in the sink, and I didn't wash the cup. I didn't throw away the cup.
Oh no.
I know.
Yeah, that actually might be worse.
I know.
So like you were definitely like testing fate in this regard. Like nobody was outside the window, and you're basically hoping nobody uses that cup before you have a chance to wash it.
Yeah, but I didn't even wash the cup.
Yeah, you just left it.
I left it.
Yeah, but it's in the game room area or in your friend's apartment?
No, it was in my friend's apartment.
I don't know if that's technically a crime, but I think they'd be upset.
Yeah. I mean, it's a crime against humanity. It's a friendship. It's
Yeah, you really betrayed these nice people.
I never got a chance to say I'm sorry. If you're watching this right now, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, worse things have happened, but god damn, yeah, that's not great.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember.
Don't let me stay at your dorm.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We don't have a game room, so you can just take my bed, I guess. Just don't pee it.
Just double check the cups.
Yeah, we had just give it the sniff test first.
What is this?
Oh, I mean, that reminds me. So a couple things, like just drinking stuff accidentally. Like my friend Mitch, when we were kids.
Juice in
yeah, that was my mom.
beer
My mom
bottle.
will never do that again. She'll never just go start sipping out of random bottles in my bedroom. But our friend Mitch, we had peed in his Gatorade bottle. I think my older brother did the night before, and he took like a big swig out of it the next day. And everybody laughed. We laughed, and then we were like, "Hey, man!" He said, My Gatorade, I farted so much last night it made my Gatorade taste weird.
Oh, wow.
And then my brother's like, nah, bro, that's a bunch of piss. And he was just like, I don't believe you. And he took another big old swill of it.
Oh.
And he owned it. And he was just like, no, man, it tastes great. Lots of electrolytes. And technically true.
Yeah.
It actually just is probably the most. It's probably the most practical way if you want to sport hydrate after. You know, if you're gonna refill it with anything. They have liquid IV now, but
yeah, you're supposed to be able to drink your pee once, I think at least, and then I think, but if it's you're drinking your friend's pee, I think you can do that multiple times.
Yeah, that's fair. So all right. So peeing out of a building and not hitting anybody. So again, not a crime. But it's one of those things like nothing too heinous isn't a crime if you don't get caught, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could. If I would have gotten caught, it could have been a crime. But I was pretty, straight and narrow, like we talked about. I never really was pushed to doing bad things.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I feel very fortunate. It's part of my privilege, and I don't.
Yeah. I was an antsy motherfucker. I always wanted to not commit crimes, but it was mostly just doing stuff that seemed fun at the time and without hopefully not a huge amount of not hurting anybody, but I would just act out a lot. Hated authority particularly. I was a real rapscallion in that regard.
Yeah, I mean that adds up though.
So I was constantly getting into trouble for that stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't I mean I had plenty of friends that committed crimes and got into things.
But you were the one that always kind of stayed out of it?
I don't have any tattoos. I don't, so I think it was when I discovered comedy that I found my forum for rebellion.
Yeah, okay.
Like being able to talk about say what I want to say.
Right.
And this was back in, early mid 2000s. It wasn't as PC as it is now. I mean,
okay, Chris Rock.
Fucking snowflakes and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a thing where I was able to express or put out there, and I think that was as exhilarating as I've ever felt doing something.
Yeah,
was comedy.
No, that checks out. Sweet. All right, man. Well, thanks for joining the show. Plug all your stuff. Where can people find you? You got anything? I
don't want anybody to find me after that story. But
oh, come on, that's not the worst thing I've ever heard. That's pretty benign.
I mean, you can follow, at the Denver Comedy Lounge. I would say I'm more into that social media thing than I am my own personal one. I don't really post much or go on there much, just other than occasionally. But I really try to. I was so deep in it that I try not to be there.
It's good to distance yourself. Cool.
All the people that have found me are the people. I have people that know me that I don't even want. Yeah.
Fair. All right, dude. Well, thanks for joining the show.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.